let's go ahead and take a look at means of transport, or in Spanish, medios de transporte. So first of all, I'd like to show you some of the most widely used road transports, road means of transport. The first one, as you can see from the picture, hopefully, is a car. In Spanish, el coche, or el carro. Okay, so we have a double R right here and an O. Otherwise, it's the same as the English equivalent. And both of these words express the same thing or the same type of car, but this one is more widely used in Spain, while this one is more popular in Latin America. So you can choose whichever one you like more. The second thing is a bus, which in Spanish is el autobús. El autobús. And this word can express both a coach or a bus on public transport. And I just like to point out that it has an accent right here above the U. So it is a written accent, and it also should be pronounced as a stressed syllable. The third thing is a train. Again, the word is very similar to English. So el tren. A quick recap: coche or carro, autobús, tren. Then if we move on, we can see a motorcycle right here, which in Spanish would be la moto. La moto. And it might be a bit confusing because you can see that it ends with an O, and even in spite of the fact it is a feminine noun because it has a feminine article connected to it. But the truth is that the whole word is la motocicleta. Motocicleta. And you can see that this one ends with an A, so that's the reason why a motorcycle is a feminine noun in Spanish. But most people just say the shorter version, la moto. And a very similar case is true about a bicycle, which in Spanish would be la bici. But the whole word is la bicicleta. So again, that's the reason why it is a feminine noun. Most people just say the shorter version. You could say the longer one. Nothing happens. It's equally correct. And the last thing I have here is if you want to go on foot. So on foot is a pie. Pie is this part of the body. So on foot would be a pie. So quick recap of these three: la moto or la motocicleta, bici or bicicleta, and on foot, a pie. So these were the most common kind of ways of transporting yourself when you go on roads, but you can also travel through air or by the sea, through the sea, and these are the words that you should be using for that type of transport. So the first one is an airplane, in Spanish, el avión. You can see that these two words are very different, or kind of different, but this word might be reminiscent of some other words in English, like aviator, aviation. So it has a connection to flying, so this one should be easy to remember, even though it is different. And this one, helicopter, in Spanish, el helicóptero. So a very similar word. The only difference would be that in Spanish we don't read the H, so we just kind of read it from the E onwards. Helicóptero. Again, it has an accent right here. Then a boat could be expressed in using three different words, or even four if you want to count this one. And they are pretty interchangeable. The only difference between them would be in the size. So el bote would be, we would call it a boat that is very small, like the smallest type of boat you can imagine. Usually an inflatable one would be el bote. If it's something bigger, let's say wooden with oars and all that, we could say la barca. And if it's something even bigger than that, we would say el barco. And if you have this really huge ship, so in English we would call that a cruise ship, and in Spanish it's a crucero. So avión, helicóptero, bote, barca, barco, crucero. And the last couple of words I'd like to show you are concerning the public transport. So we've already covered some of these. Like the first one, a bus is el autobús, a tram is la tranvía, a trolleybus is el trolebús or el trole. Even though these ones are not very frequent, I guess, in cities, you might find them in some, so just in case you needed it ever, you would say trolebús or trole. The metro is el metro. This is I think an international word, and if you wanted to say tube or subway or the other equivalents of the word metro in English, you would still say el metro in Spanish. And the last thing we've also had to go on foot means a pie. So these were the most commonly used ways of transport, even public transport and by sea, by air, and using roads. So I hope they'll come in handy in this lesson, and we'll see how we can connect them into sentences in the future videos.